Allegedly, where we slow the story down. This is about insight versus impact, learning from what we observe. Instead of paying the price ourselves, their experiences become our education. So growth doesn't have to come with damage. Welcome to mycoachministry.com. We're on a mission to empower 1 million purpose-driven entrepreneurs, turning calling into currency. Through strategic coaching, we guide visionary leaders, brand elevation, and creative empowerment, helping leaders break barriers and own their identity. Build impactful, wealth-generating brands that echo across generations.
This is Allegedly, and today I have something I want to talk about. Something that I've really been thinking, and I decided, you know what, and it's such a I think this is a very delicate topic, and that's the reason I make sure I have like a script. Make sure, because let me be clear, I'm not trying to offend anyone, but I also want to speak my truth, and I also want to add my voice to the conversation. And before we go, what did I just do? Before we go there, let me just repeat this, that this segment of the show, Allegedly, is where truth meets opinion and headlines meet hard questions, and also hard thoughts, my questions, and also thoughts and perspectives, and I always say this, that I'm very cautious and mindful with other people's story, because pain is not purposeless, and everyone's story has a divine purpose. That's my belief system anyway. I know that God is with all his children, and I know that this world is ultimately under God's control, and that's kind of why I'm having this conversation. I want to talk about this particular topic and looking at it the way I'm going to look at it. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I view people's breakdown as an indicator for me to do self-work, so that I can experience breakthroughs. But even more so, because even more than breakthroughs, I want to please God, and it's good to see what I'm reflecting, or what's reflecting back at me, what's capturing my attention. Why is it capturing my attention? What are the lessons here? It's cold. What are the lessons here that I could learn? What is this story telling me about myself? Where are the opportunities for growth here? So, it's from gossip to growth. So it's not just gossip, but for this topic I'm going to be talking about today, I'm kind of taking introducing a new perspective, or a different perspective from the ones I've been hearing, and it is my hope that you can be open to just knowing that I'm not telling anyone what to do. This is just me sharing my thoughts on these things. All right. So let's now go to the copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing, because I will be mentioning people's names and their stories and stuff like that. But let's begin. So first things first, let's make this key distinction. Accountability is not blame. All right. And accountability is agency. Please remember this as we go through this entire thing. Okay. Okay. So some of the headlines that I've been thinking about, or looking at, or have been crossing my timeline includes like Sean Combs, Epstein files, the R. Kelly story, the 14-year-old victim reportedly or allegedly She wrote a book, and she's been in interviews, and she's been sharing her experiences and so on. Now, the core idea here is predators exist. That's a fact. Predators exist. That's a fact. Harm is never deserved. That's also a fact. All right. But the most durable form of protection is not entitlement, fantasy, or expectation of fairness. And I'm sharing this because it's really been on my heart. And sometimes when I'm listening to commentators and the news and people who discuss the news and stuff like that, sometimes I just don't understand the perspective we're taking. And I think the perspective we take make us vulnerable rather than proactive. That's just how I feel. And that's the reason I'm sharing this information today, because I want us to become more proactive. We're not born victims. We're not created to be feeble beings. Anyway, the most durable form of protection is not entitlement, fantasy, or expectation of fairness. It is personal accountability, self-trust, discernment, and skill building in a world where no one owes us safety. No one owes us safety. And every time I listen to some of the stories and stuff, I'm like, okay, so you have Epstein, and then you have the people around Epstein, and you have Sean Combs and what he's been accused of, and people that were around him, and you have R. Kelly and the people around him, and the parents, and this community, and all of these things, right? But when you go through the different layers, there's this and this and this and this, but then there is God. Always come back to what, when I try to trace accountability or who's at fault, I always end up going back to, but ultimately, God could have stopped this. Ultimately, God is in control. Ultimately, there is a God. How do we hate mankind but not hold a God accountable? I'm just saying. I'm not saying you should believe this. These are just my questions, okay? Anyway, this is not pessimism. It is reality-based empowerment. Reality-based empowerment. Yeah? I don't think God sent us down here to be mindless. And I think sometimes we move way too mindless in a world that is not, that has no, in a world that is not designed specifically for us as individuals. You know what I mean? Number one, agency reduces vulnerability. Research in trauma recovery consistently shows that people who develop internal locus of control, that is, belief that their actions influence outcomes, have better recovery, boundary setting, and long-term well-being than those taught only external protection narratives. Supported by frameworks used by American Psychological Association, also echoed in resilience research summarized by World Health Organization. This does not deny system harm, it strengthens the individual inside. It has to begin with self. Number two, entitlement narratives increase risk. Studies in social psychology show that unwritten expectations that people should be kind, authority figures will protect, the world is fair, can lower situational awareness and delay boundary responses. This is sometimes referred to as the just world fallacy, the belief that good outcomes are owed to good people. Identified and discussed in academic psychology and trauma education, challenged in empowerment-based prevention models. Number three, predators exploit predictability, not weakness. Predatory behavior across contexts often targets, according to research, blurred boundaries, delayed responses, social conditioning toward politeness, fear of being wrong or mean. Teaching self-trust, boundary, clarity, and rapid response is shown to be more protective than teaching avoidance alone. And this is why I wrote the book, Dear Little Black Girl. Number 4, the world as a system is indifferent. This is the hardest truth and the most freeing. The world, systems, cultures, power structures is not moral. It is incentive driven. Okay? Seeing the world clearly, not romantically, is a core principle in trauma recovery, leadership development, self-protection training, empowerment education. This does not make us cynical. It makes us prepared. So I just wanted to lay the groundwork for what I'm about to, for the rest of what I'm going to say. I want you to bear those things in mind, all right? So, accountability as protection. Allegedly, this is one of the most uncomfortable conversations we avoid having. Not because it's untrue, but because it disrupts a lot of comforting stories. See? Not because it's untrue, but because it disrupts a lot of comforting stories. Let me be clear before we go any further. Harm is never deserved, abuse is never justified, and predators are responsible for their actions. Predators are responsible for their actions, right? So let me say this again. Be clear before I move forward. Harm is never deserved. Abuse is never justified, and predators are responsible for their actions. Full stop. Yeah? But accountability is not about blame. It's about power. It's about power. We're often taught, quietly, culturally, that the world should protect us. Says who? Anyway, that people should be fair. Again, says who? That authority will intervene. That good intentions guarantee safety. But those are unwritten expectations, not guarantees. And entitlement to protection in an unsafe world can quietly become a vulnerability. So here's the hard truth. The world is not kind by default. The world is not kind by default. It is not just. It's not just. It is not safe. There's this thing, Monk. It's a jungle out here. It's a jungle out there. In many ways, the world itself is the ultimate super predator. Indifferent, opportunistic, and incentive driven. Seeing that clearly is not fear, it's freedom. And I just want to, I'm going to put this up here while I'm speaking. Yeah. And my heart goes out to this young lady. I'm so proud that she's written her book and she's growing, but I really want us to get to a place of power. A place of power, you know? No, the strongest form of protection is not, I'm sorry, the person I'm sharing on the screen right now is a young lady who was the 14-year-old alleged victim of R. Kelly. That's how it's been reported. I'm also going to show you, and then you also have the Epstein-related matters. Yeah. And I just want to just kind of show you those as I go through what I'm talking about, right? Because I want us to have it in our minds. I want us to have a clarity of mind of sorts to understand that when I say The world is not kind by default. It is not just. It is not safe. In many ways, the world itself is the ultimate super predator, indifferent, opportunistic, and incentive driven. Seeing that clearly is not fear, it's freedom. Right? Now let's go back to what I had before. So I want you to follow me here. No, the strongest form of protection is not pretending predators don't exist. It is self-trust, discernment, boundaries, situational awareness, survival instincts, and personal accountability for your own healing and growth. Accountability says, I may not control what others do, but I am responsible for how I prepared. But I am responsible for how prepared I am, I may not control what others do, but I am responsible for how prepared I am. Seeing people as human, capable of good and harm, keeps us alert, not anxious. Romanticizing people makes us vulnerable. Seeing clearly makes us resilient. For example, right? So here we are. Let me go back to here. Right? The whole story of R. Kelly for me is all I saw were victims, right? And when I heard some of the conversations, like the expectations, as though him just being a talent, him being a celebrity, him being handsome, him being able to sing, all of these things somehow predisposed him to morality, predisposed him to responsibility, as though because he's all those things, he's expected to be upstanding, moral, principled, disciplined, godly, capable of not harming someone. Says who? Who assessed him? What are the assessments that we're making when we interact with people? And especially people that we trust our young people with, our kids with. I just don't understand it. Are we traveling through this world mindlessly, just floating in the air, thinking, oh, the world is good, the world is wonderful? Since when? When I watch the animal documentaries and stuff, it's like they're always on guard. They're in motion. They're in awareness. They're like, you know. And I'm not saying that they don't relax. Sometimes I watch, because I watch a lot of those documentaries, and even the lion that will be sitting there just chilling, still looking, checking, still in awareness. Where did we get this mindset that people are just good? And this is it, right? It's not necessarily that people are necessarily bad. Do they have capacity to treat you with the care you expect them to give? Do they have the capacity? Do they have lived experience on how to protect you and how to resist harming you? Those are things that we have to ask ourselves. Now, this man, because he is a prince, I don't even know what that is. To be honest, what's a prince? What is that? What is that? What's a prince? What is a prince? Ay. These titles. He's a human being. That man in the image is a human being. And humans are capable of quote unquote good or quote unquote bad, because in my vocabulary, like, I still use the word good and bad only because it's there in my brain. But I really don't feed into that concept of somebody's good or somebody's bad. People are just one of my angels would say, people are people. And people, you'd be amazed to know that sometimes they're not even thinking about you even while they're doing what they're doing with you. They're thinking about their own joys, their own satisfaction, their own desires, their own objectives, their own survival. And you should be doing the same. Seeing people as human, capable of good and harm, keeps us alert, not anxious. Romanticizing people makes us vulnerable. Oh, he's a prince. She's a princess. Seeing clearly makes us resilient. Healing doesn't end with processing pain. It matures into skill. Transformation isn't just feeling better, it's functioning wiser. Empowerment isn't entitlement, it's capacity. Allegedly, true protection isn't promised by the world. It's built through accountability, clarity, and self-leadership. Ooh, self-leadership. And that's not a loss of innocence. That's growth. We keep asking why people didn't do right, didn't know better, didn't see it coming, didn't behave correctly. But those questions reveal our own entitlement. You're not entitled to other people's good behavior. You're not entitled to me behaving a certain way. I'm not entitled to you behaving a certain way. And that's something I even learned with loving someone. Me loving you does not entitle me to your love. Me loving you does not entitle me to your commitment. Me loving you does not entitle me to your presence. Me loving you does not give me entitlement to anything you, no matter how much I love you. And vice versa, right? We keep asking why people didn't do right, quote unquote right, yeah? How do you know it wasn't right for them? Based on who they are and what their desires are. Didn't know better, didn't see it coming, didn't behave correctly. By whose standard are you evaluating people? Your own standard? They don't live by your standard. They don't live in your house. And even when they live in your house, they're still not living in your standard. Unless they live in your mind, they're not living by your standard. And to the extent that you get to meet someone who decide to agree with and live by your standards, then there should be gratitude and value and appreciation. And thank God for alignment. Those questions reveal our own entitlement. We want monsters to be obvious, victims to be perfect, grief to be polite, and harm to make sense. Let me go through that again. We want monsters to be perfect. The perfect monster. And even then, we'd still be miserable. And this thing about victims being perfect, because you're a victim, all of a sudden you're free of all responsibility, all accountability. Even in the case with Sean and Cassie, as though a woman can't decide on her own, I want multiple sex partners because I enjoy sex and I want to do this. I saw it for myself. I had a friend who I thought she was a sex addict, but then looking back, after the whole Sean Combs case, I'm like, how dare you, Raquel? How dare you project that onto her? She wasn't addicted. She just enjoyed sex. And to be frank with you, I wish I had more. I wish I enjoyed it too, and did a lot more of it. I even wished that I dated more and enjoyed being with more. I kind of wish I had more sexual partners. Like I wish I wasn't so closed-minded, you know? Like I wish growing up I was just more open to relationships and just being with people. I wasn't. We're different people, you know? But I can't judge someone based on who I am because of the trauma of my own childhood and the things that caused me to move in fear and caution. Maybe it works for my life. But maybe they have a better support system than I do, so they don't have to have that much caution as I do. We have to give people a right to choose what they think is best for them, even if that harms somebody else. What we have to do, and I'm not saying we should approve harm, I'm saying we have to exist knowing that people will do what serves them. So we have to be proactive in our own self-leadership and accountability and self-care and being discerning or having discernment, you know? The world isn't a moral system, it's a human one. The world isn't a moral system, it's a human one. Everyone is not a Christian and everyone don't believe in the Bible. It's not a standard that was set. It's not a, let me not say that. There was no command that said everyone must be Christian. Everyone must believe this. Everyone must practice Bible. Yeah, we share the information, but it doesn't mean that everyone uptake it and apply it. People are still humans, and I'll say this too. As humans, sometimes we're no matter how hard you try, no matter how much you try to be good. Have you ever really truly have love in your heart for someone, and every single time you do something, you feel like it's like your constant foot in mouth experience? Like everything you do with them, you just mess up. All your good intentions. You know, these days, what I thank people for? Seeing my good intentions. Because sometimes even with the best of intentions, you just have no power over how someone will perceive you or what impact you will have on them. Right? So what is the price of entitlement? And what does it cost us when we avoid personal accountability for seeing reality as it is? In the news, we've had these stories. We have Diddy, R. Kelly, Epstein, Brigitte Macron, Erica Kirk, among others. But these headlines don't just report events. They reflect what the public expects. There is a degree of entitlement in the media or in these reports these days that I'm just sitting there like, excuse me? Erica Kirk should answer you because? Brigitte Macron should tell you that because? Huh? Who died and made you God? The entitlement these days. These headlines, they're not just about reporting a thing. No, it's about fulfilling. I have an expectation and I am the moral police and you better respond to me. Says who? So these headlines don't just report events. They reflect what the public expects. Explanation from powerful people. Who are you? Sometimes when I hear this, and Erica Kirk, she did not come out, and all she had to say was, this is where I was at, and blah blah blah. Or they'll say, oh, she went and she spoke to that person when she could just have picked up the phone and called Candace. Who the hell is Candace? I mean, who is Candace in the life of Erica Kirk? That Erica Kirk is obligated to her. You know how I interpret what Erica Kirk is doing? And I'm not saying this is correct. This is just how I feel. I feel like Erica Kirk look and think, who do you think you are? You know what, let me go over next door because I wouldn't even acknowledge you. I wouldn't even give you credit. Like, I wouldn't even sniff on you. Like, you think I'm going to come over there to validate what you're doing by coming to report to you? Who do you think you are? No, honestly, like when I sit and I'm hearing it and I'm like, these people are crazy. Demanding explanation. Demanding transparency when elite wrongdoing is revealed. Who owes you transparency? Demanding morality or expecting morality from public figures. People. And even if they wanted to give this to you, you're not even a fair system. You're biased by your own beliefs and expectations. It's no win-win for them. This is you yourself is being biased, and it's about you. It's never in their best interest. So why would they participate anyway? Expecting narrative clarity from victims and accused alike. I'm sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, even the way they go at Erica Kirk, right? I'm sitting to myself and I'm saying, okay, so you're going so hard at this woman, but if her husband was murdered, doesn't she have a reason? Isn't there some reasonability where, or some consideration that maybe her life was threatened too? And maybe this exactly as she's showing up is her survival. Maybe exactly how she presents is her cry for help. Maybe exactly how she presents is the only way she knows how to cope with all of this that's happening. Because if her husband was publicly murdered or executed or whatever they call it, right? Isn't there a reason for caution on her part? Isn't there? I mean, if it were me, I'd be concerned about, am I safe? Are my kids safe? Based on all the information they're presenting, where it could be connected back to his business or whatever, maybe that's why she moves that way. How do you know that the person who was pressuring him isn't pressuring her? Like, how do you know that her performance is not her survival? But we claim we care about victims, or I guess what it is who we approve as victims. Expectations and entitlements. That's the cultural entitlement I'm dissecting. How we demand explanations, public apologies, and moral clarity as though influence and celebrity should come with automatic righteousness. I keep asking myself this. Do we actually fund integrity? Or do we fund exposure? Do we support righteous work consistently? Do we support righteous work consistently, quietly, and early? Or do we only show up when something breaks, bleeds, or goes viral? Because attention is currency, and we spend it every day. These headlines go viral not just because we care, but because they entertain our sense of shock, fear, and moral distance. We don't just consume the story. We consume the relief of saying, I'm not like that. Well, let me say this. I am capable of anything, but God knows I'm so conscious every single day to put the work in to become the woman I want to be, a woman of God. Let me change that. I don't even want to be a woman of God, a child of God. I want to represent the goodness of God in my life, and I'm really trying. But that does not set me apart. That does not make me better. That just makes me trying. We say we want righteousness, safety, and integrity, but our clicks tell another story. We often fund outrage more than we fund prevention, exposure more than we fund excellence, and scandal more than we fund clean work. Attention is funding. And what we repeatedly give our attention to, we underwrite. This isn't about guilt, it's about awareness. If we say we care about protection, integrity, and healing, then the question becomes, where are we placing our money, our clicks, and our amplification before harm happens? Do these headlines go viral because we truly care? Or because caring has become another form of entertainment? It is my hope that sharing that with you is we it's my hope that sharing that with you will help us come into the awareness of how we're showing up, and how we show up influence the world that we're part of, you know.
Women and Men of Excellence Outreach Ministries is a global church without walls. We're serving communities through live services, prayer intervention, and outreach that changes lives. Support our $500 monthly giving drive at wamoe.org/give. Shop with purpose at faithmerchandise.com, featuring Dr. Faith's Miracle Lemonade. Book Dr. Faith for therapy, speaking, or ministry at drfaithreborn.com. Grow through professional connection and vocational training at theexcelproject.com. Subscribe to our monthly newsletter and follow us on socials at WAMO Ministries. Become a great motivator. Help us empower minds for success in the kingdom of God.
Even when I listen to the whole Epstein thing, and Epstein this and Epstein that, and did it this and did it that, it's so interesting that the moral high grounds and the moral authorities get so blindsided by their own self-regard that they can't even be objective anymore. Like, I was watching a program the other day, a podcast the other day on a YouTuber, and he was talking about Charlie Kirk, and he was referencing another podcast, another YouTuber, and he added to the story, he added to the story the whole child endangerment issue, the whole trafficking issue, right? But when I went back to the original person who did the story, it had nothing to do with that. What the person said had nothing to do with that. He also made a statement, and he connected. So he's saying Charlie Kirk was into this. And then he said, see, and I told you, Diddy was doing that too. It's the same thing. And Diddy is the Black Epstein. And see, Diddy is in jail for sex trafficking. Which news are we watching? Like, and he's referring to children. To children. None of that came up in the case for Sean Combs. But they're still carrying this story forward. And who am I to expect any better of anyone? Or let me not say better, because I'm not. It's not on me to determine who's doing good, better, best. But who am I to expect different? I changed the channel. That's the power I have. I changed the channel. You know what I watch mostly these days? Monkey grooming ASMR. I watch a lot of ASMR, animal videos. I'm intentional about doing as much as I possibly can to stay as close to nature as possible, because I don't want to lose myself in the noise. I hope you don't lose yourself in the noise, because there's a lot of noise out there. A lot of noise. And everybody's an expert, and everybody have these expectations of other people. Having expectations of other people to perform better when they themselves are guilty of the very thing they're accusing somebody else of. I mean, I feel for Erica so much. The way they come at this woman, and all I keep thinking to myself is, if her husband was murdered, isn't there a chance, a possibility she might be under pressure? Isn't there a chance, a possibility that she doesn't even know how to operate right now, so she's just doing the best she can? Isn't there a possibility that the same pressure he was under, that same threat still exists? Isn't there a possibility? My gosh. Yeah. to the extent that I explore certain stories is because I want to be in awareness and also to do my podcast, allegedly, but those are not the things I watch a lot of, I watch a lot of I love documentaries, I love nonfiction, and question everything. I question everything. And I'm constantly working on myself because I want to be the kind of person who, when people have experiences with me, their connection with God is strengthened. I don't know if it will happen, but that's my hope. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to Allegedly. That's the end of it. So this has been Allegedly. Let's be mindful of our entitlements and our expectations of other people, because people are busy living their lives. Thank you so much for watching. It is my hope that you like, share, comment, and let me know what your thoughts are. All right.
Welcome to Kelly's Fitness Adventures. Discover your path to wellness. Hear your breath, movement, and healing align through ASMR fitness journeys. Join us on real-time walking meditations, feeling the earth beneath your feet. Experience sunrise strength training that nourishes both body and soul. Engage in waterfall breathwork journeys. Rejuvenate your spirit. All you need is a phone and an open heart. Let's connect. Come away with me. Inhale, exhale, just breathe. Visit kellysfitnessadventures.com.
I love to open new packages. There will be the latest information on the top funding opportunities for entrepreneurs who are seeking funding. Come along with me. I'm Coach Raquel, and this is a passion project for me, so I am so happy to bring this to you. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for watching.
Unlock your potential every Thursday with our podcast, Refresh, Relax, Renew. Join Coach Raquel as she guides you through personal development journeys. Each episode focuses on actionable steps to enhance your personal journey. The podcast features 3 main segments to keep you engaged. We start with discussions on trending topics relevant to your growth. Then we unbox solutions to common challenges we face daily. Finally, stay updated with fresh funding opportunities each week. Tune in every Thursday for new episodes, and see you there.